Hello, everyone. I am your host. This is Jessica Koch. We are back again with another profound professional interview series. We have been bringing industry experts from all over the world to you for almost 8 years now. Yes, you know them, those profound professionals who help you improve your personal life and grow your business. Today is no different. We have an amazing guest with us today. David is a retired chiropractor who wants to share new wellness technologies with you. Now, I'm going to give it to you just as it is. I am the Italian mother of 7, and we have 7 grandkids, 1 cooking, but I am not your mama. I am not your lawyer, your doctor, your medical or financial provider. We're not giving you medical, legal, or financial advice. We are sharing the stories and the wisdom of the industry experts from around the world of things that have worked for them, things they have come across and learned about. So please do your own research and homework and talk to your own medical providers and physicians before you do anything. But today, David is going to share with us a little of his story and a little bit of his knowledge of what is out there. There's so many new and amazing things out there to help us be the best versions of ourselves and live what I'm shooting for and hoping for to 120 and beyond. So welcome today, David. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Jessica. Thank you for having me on the show.
It is my pleasure. Tell us a little bit of your story of how you got into the being in the medical and the wellness space and being a chiropractor and how you've gotten here with all of this.
So I was in a snowboarding accident back in 1996, and I was going off a jump in Wrightwood, California, and I landed right on my butt.
Oh,
and
no.
I was in a lot of pain, but because of the endorphins and enkephalons that were pumping through my body, doing this wonderful snowboarding sport that many of us love, I didn't really I didn't really feel anything because those are natural painkillers. But the next day, when they had worn off, all these endorphins and enkephalons, I had to crawl to the bathroom just to go to the bathroom when I got out of bed. My low back was just killing me. And my roommate at the time had been going to a chiropractor, and he said, "Hey, this chiropractor is offering, a consultation, and maybe he could help you." And so I'm like, and I had a little experience with chiropractors because my sisters all worked for one of the best chiropractors in Burbank, California, where I grew up. But they never talked about work or that. And going through high school, I was always very healthy. I mean, I had some sports injuries as far as, I sprained both of my ankles really good and separated my shoulder once, all playing football in high school. But for the most part, I was very healthy and had a very healthy childhood. But now in adulthood, and like I said, in 96, I would have been 27 years old at the time when this happened. I went to the chiropractor, this chiropractor in North Hollywood, where my friend and I were renting a house together and doing our thing. I was teaching high school Spanish at the time. Actually, I think I was substituting at the time. I hadn't actually graduated to being a full-time high school Spanish teacher, but teaching is my first love. And so as God is in our life, these events all happen for a reason that has led me to where we are today. I went to the chiropractor. I had a good experience. And it was a good introduction to chiropractic. Now, fast forward to 2000, I got married. And at the time, when I got married, I was teaching high school Spanish at this point. However, I married a Colombian woman, and we wanted to have 10 kids. And we were living in LA. And I thought about that for a moment, and I'm like, teacher salary, living in Los Angeles, California, how am I going to afford 10 children?
Right.
So that led me to start thinking about higher education, because I had a bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's degree in Spanish from Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, and with a minor in business. And I was teaching, and I was loving teaching because it's my first love. Um, and so I'm like, well, I had where could I get higher education? Like, what should I do? Should I get an MBA? Which is what I was being recommended to do as I was finishing up my bachelor's degree in Spanish at BYU. Because of my language, they were saying, hey, maybe you should go into international business. That was in the past, though. Now I was like, no, I really am fascinated with the human body, and with, this incredible gift that our Father in heaven has given us. I use my body all the time. I love sports. I play football, basketball, baseball, ran track and tennis in high school, grew up playing tennis, had this snowboarding accident, which led me to go to the chiropractor. I'm like, maybe I should look into chiropractic. So that's what I did. I looked at the requirements to become a chiropractor, and I'm like, I could do that. That's doable. I can manage that. And that led to me starting to take prerequisites that I was lacking at the time to start my doctorate in chiropractic, specifically physics, chemistry, and organic chemistry. And because of some
overall, you had a very successful long career and have already retired from that, right?
Yeah. I retired from teaching high school Spanish because it just wasn't going to generate the income I needed for the goals that my wife and I had together as a couple. My new wife. So I started my doctorate in 2003, and in my first trimester of my doctorate, I met my mentor and who I learned the most from regarding health. Okay. Now you learn a lot of things when you get a doctorate in chiropractic. Many people don't realize that the curriculum that a chiropractor goes through is comparable to a medical doctor's. The only difference between the two curriculums really is that chiropractors don't prescribe medications. And so medical doctors get much more training in pharmacology, because that's what they do. They diagnose and then they prescribe medications or surgery. That is allopathic medicine. Chiropractic is a different philosophy. It's the vitalistic philosophy of health, in which if something's wrong with the body, you don't add something or take something away from the body. What you do is you take a look at what's going on internally with the function of the body. And that's all mitigated through the nervous system. Our spinal cord is protected by 24 vertebrae. And so chiropractors focus on that. We focus on the spine.
And how many years were you a chiropractor?
I was a chiropractor for 17 years. I graduated in 2007. And I practiced in 4 different states between 2007 and 2017. Now, since 2017, things have been very difficult, Jessica. And I got out of practice in 2017. I was almost forced out of practice. And since 2017, my goal has been to have my own upper cervical specific chiropractic clinic, which was the specialty that I did in the 10 years that I practiced from 2007 to 2017. And it just didn't work out. And sometimes things don't work out in our life. And so what you do is you continue to trust in God and his will for you. And that's what I've done. And that's what led me to finding the technology that I want to share with
Yeah,
everybody today.
let's talk about those. Tell us about the new wellness technologies with the disclaimer again. If you're watching and listening, you always need to seek your medical advice directly from your doctor and do your own research. We're simply sharing things that we have learned about, know about, or have worked for us personally. So keep that in mind as you listen. But please do share, David, the technologies you've come across and some of the things that you've heard and see them do for yourself or others.
So until January 11th of this year, 2024, I knew absolutely nothing about light therapy. And in the last 2.5 months, basically, I have just learned a plethora of information regarding light therapy.
Now, before you go too far into light therapy, I do want to share that I had and went to the hospital. I had a growth that had come in my hand, like a cyst that had been pressing on a nerve and was causing me quite a bit of pain and function in my hand. And I had it for a long time. First, I ignored it for a while because I'm not a fan of going to the doctor as often as I should. And finally, I said, Uncle, because I type every day and I use my hands a lot. And so I went in, and of course, their idea was, well, you're going to have surgery and you're going to have this and that and all the things. And I said, well, let me go home and pray about it and think about it. But thank you. So I got the medical advice and knowledge, and then I had to kind of process and make a decision for my own body and myself. And my husband had done a lot of research on light therapy too, and had a red light therapy pen. And he said, well, honey, let's just take a few weeks, research the surgeons, research the surgery to make a decision to go take the next step. But in the meantime, he would sit with me on the couch in the end of the day in the evenings, and we'd play Star Trek in the background because that's our routine. He is a big Star Trekkie, and I've learned to love to snuggle and watch him with him next to him and do that. And as we sat there, he would rub the red light across this space in my hand. And I have to tell you, it's a 100% gone. It was 100% gone very quickly after doing that process. I went back and saw the doctor. They said I no longer needed surgery because there was nothing there to operate on. The pain is completely gone. And now, not to say that would work for you too, but that was the experience I personally had. Always go see your doctor. I went and saw my doctor. But now, after sharing my little light story, please tell us more about what you learned about light, David.
So I was introduced to a particular form of this technology in which it's a patch. It's a little patch about 1 inch in diameter, circular. A circular patch, 1 inch in diameter. And what you do is you put this on your body. And like I said, I knew nothing about this at the beginning of this year. Okay. But because I have an open mind and because I've always had the desire to help people in any way I could, I really looked into this and researched this, and I am absolutely amazed because I started using this patch February 1st of this year, and I've used it off and on since February 1st, so just in the last 2 months, all right? And the first thing I noticed when I put this patch on my body is I felt like I had just received a very specific correction to my atlas, which is what I did as a doctor for 17 years. Okay. I felt this, and I had never had that feeling in any type of therapy or nutraceutical or any type of food that I'd ever eaten, because it's a very distinct feeling of wellness and feeling of healing. Okay. And a feeling of peace throughout your body. That's the feeling that I had when I put this patch on my body. And then 2 days later, I was looking at myself and I'm like, wait a minute, my wrinkles are going away on my face, that I've always had here on this. And I'm like, that is bizarre. Okay. I never had any of my patients, when I gave them correction to their atlas ever come to me and say, hey, Dr. Yates, guess what? My skin is softer and tighter, and my wrinkles are going away. Mm-hmm. And so I researched this patch a little bit further, and I found out that what it does, it's a technology that when you put it on your body, it elevates the GHK copper peptide in the body, which is clinically proven to activate stem cells. Okay. And stem cells are the key to regenerative medicine, if you will. Sure. If you've ever heard of peptide therapy for regenerative medicine, there are doctors that specialize in that. But this technology uses the wisdom and the intelligence of the body itself to not only activate these stem cells, but then the body basically decides what it's going to heal and in what order it's going to heal that particular area of the body. And one thing that I want our listeners to be, and this is my health tip. Okay, this is the most important thing I've learned in my 17 years of being a doctor, is that your body can heal itself of anything. You name it, your body can heal it. Okay, but what your body is going to do is it's first going to focus on what needs healing, as far as what is a threat to your survival. So things like heart disease and cancer, these are the two leading causes of death in the United States. And it's because these diseases develop in our bodies without us knowing that they're developing. I'll use heart disease for an example. The number one and most common symptom that somebody has heart disease is the fatal heart attack that kills them. And they're going about their life thinking, oh, I'm healthy. I don't have any pain. I'm able to play golf. I'm able to, run and exercise and do the activities of daily living. But this deadly disease is developing and they don't even know it. But see, your body knows. Mm-hmm. And so when you're using technology like this, and I've seen this because I've talked to people that have used this patch as well. Okay. And I've heard their experiences, and there's a lot of them out there in which you put this patch on your body. And I understand what's happening as a doctor. The person who's using the patch might not understand, but what the body's doing is it's first healing whatever's a threat to your survival. Then it works on symptoms, and then you achieve what's called wellness. And the difference between health and wellness is this. Health is an absence of symptoms, such as pain, which is probably the main focus that people have. Most people deal with chronic pain. It's a huge problem in our society. But wellness is not symptom. You're symptom free. What your body is doing is it's functioning as it was created to do. It's functioning at its optimum. So that's the difference between the two. And this patch seems to be able to use the intelligence of the body to elevate what's missing, in this case, this GKH copper peptide, which activates the stem cells, and then the stem cells heal or, basically do what they need to do, what the body needs. And that's what I love about it, because it works with the intelligence of your body to heal what needs to be healed in the order that it needs to be healed.
So what I will say to you watching is we will make sure that David includes links and resources, research, his links. And again, we're sharing with you new technologies that David has heard about, used himself, shared experiences of people he's known used it. But we would suggest that you talk with your doctor, do your own research and check it out, check out his links, and then make decisions with your medical professionals from there. But very fascinating and interesting stuff. The world is constantly coming up with new technologies and new solutions for all kinds of puzzles that we try to solve as humans in our lives. Was there an additional technology you wanted to share, or just that one?
No, that's what I'm mainly, that's what I'm most excited about, Jessica, because there are a variety of different patches with this company that manufactures these light therapy patches. But the most stunning to me is the stem cell activation, because stem cells, for our listeners that may not be aware of stem cells can mimic any cell type in the body and replace it with new cells. And that's huge. I mean, that is the most breakthrough, revolutionary. And this, people focus on stem cells right now. There's a lot of scientists that are studying stem cells. You've heard about people getting stem cells injections. There's one study that was breakthrough that came out in 2018. I don't remember all the details of it, but this guy or this person was basically needed a knee replacement. He got injections of stem cells and didn't need the surgery. I mean, that's profound stuff.
Fascinating stuff, big time. Now, let's review before we move on to the next section of our show here. Let's review what your special tip is to share with the audience. We want to give them a tip today, something they can do today that will make their lives better. What kind of tip do you have for them, David?
So the tip I would give, I mean, most people know what they need to do to be healthy. They know that they need to move more, more exercise in their life. They know that they need to eat healthier. They know that they have to be very cognizant of their thoughts and their emotional and mental well-being. These are all very common knowledge things. What I have seen as a doctor is that people neglect their nervous system. So the best tip that I could give you is go to a chiropractor, get your spine checked. Your spine is what protects your central nervous system, your spinal cord. That is the communication system of the body. And just like in a relationship, if you want to have a good relationship with somebody, what's the key? Communication. When there's no communication in a relationship, that relationship usually breaks down and dissolves. Same with our health. If there's poor communication in the body, it leads to dis-ease, the body functioning without ease.
Well, and on that note, my word of the year, you'll appreciate this, is alignment. And so a good chiropractor will appreciate everything being in a line from head.
That is correct.
And that does help you function at a higher level of health overall.
That is correct.
So that's a wonderful tip. I love that. Now, one of the other things about our Profound Professional Show series is from show number 1. All of the guests that we've had, almost 1,000 industry experts globally, which is super exciting, has shared with us a cause that they care about, something that's close to their heart. So if you're watching, and we know you are, and thank you for that, now's the time to hit the share button. You might just inspire someone to share time, treasure, and talent with a cause they care about, or learn more about David's cause, or just share some awareness about this. If you can bring someone and move them to action to do just a little act of kindness or spread some awareness about a cause that's doing something good, then you made a difference today. So hit that share button, like and comment, tell us what your cause is. David, what's the cause that's close to your heart?
The humanitarian efforts of my church are what's closest to my heart. I love what my church does worldwide. It's a worldwide church. How we give relief wherever needed in the world. And we have donations of members worldwide. and just the organization and the humanitarian efforts. Whenever there's a earthquake or a natural disaster or a need for food, my church is there on the spot, and probably has donated more money to humanitarian efforts worldwide than any other organization. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not a big guy on numbers and stuff like that. I just know that we're probably in the top three as far as humanitarian efforts.
So the message here is get involved in something humanitarian, or get involved in your local community church, become a part of a fundraising committee, do something to support your church or local organizations and community that inspire you and bring you joy, because when you reach out and help others, so much more healing and help comes back to you. And that's the point, right? We're here for one another. Now, we also, as you know, as you followed me, I am crazy about books. And we are creating the ultimate book list of all the guests who've come on. They've shared with us books that have inspired their personal life or helped them grow your business. David, do you have a book in mind?
Not in particular. I'm probably not as big a book lover as you are. However, there was a time in my life where just recently, when I was living in Costa Rica, I lived in Costa Rica from April of 2021 until September 1st, 2023.
Wow.
And while I was in Costa Rica, I got involved with a company called Vocal Media. And Vocal Media allows people to write short stories based on fictional classics like Catcher in the Rye. And what they do is they give you a scenario from this this famous book, and they say, now write a short story based on this, and it has to be fictional. Okay. Now, I love nonfiction. I love, real life things. I'm not a big fiction fan. So it was a challenge for me to write these short stories. And and my whole purpose for doing it was I was trying to win prizes. Like I was trying to make money, because I was an illegal alien down there in Costa Rica. I didn't have a work permit. I basically moved down there with the purpose of starting a clinic down there, a chiropractic clinic. But like I said earlier, a lot of times God has other plans for us, and you just go with the flow. And this was my way of kind of adapting to my business not working out down there. I started writing these short stories, trying to win prize money with Vocal Media. So that's what I did. And that was really fun. But one book in particular, no, I couldn't say that there's a book in particular that has been an influence on my life. People have been an influence in my life, not books mainly.
Okay. And you had, I do recall before we chatted and jumped on, you had someone in history that was a specific inspiration for you. You want to share a bit about that?
Absolutely. Thomas Edison has actually been very inspiring to me. First and foremost in my chiropractic career, because there's a famous quote. And I'm not going to say this word for word because
paraphrase.
Yeah, I'll kind of paraphrase the quote. And I used to actually add this, like when I was in practice, and you know how at the end of your email you have, sincerely or whatever, Dr. David Yates. And then after that, I would have this quote by Thomas Edison, and it basically says, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will focus on the human frame, diet, and the function of the body. And that quote goes, that is the philosophy of chiropractic in a nutshell. That is the definition of the vitalistic approach to health.
Mm-hmm.
We like I said earlier, we don't prescribe drugs. We don't prescribe surgery. What we do is we focus on the human frame. In other words, the spine. Okay. We make sure that things are balanced and in alignment, which is your focus. Everything's in alignment. We make sure that you're eating right and that you have good thoughts, because really, if you look at the chiropractic philosophy, that those are the three big things is, thoughts, and function, structure and function. Mm-hmm. And so Thomas Edison, and just a side note on that, Thomas Edison is actually the inspiration for the CEO of the company that developed this technology that I've been sharing today.
That's awesome. A great tie-in as we begin to wrap up. Now, if you're out there watching, and we know you are, and we're so grateful for you to be here with us and be part of the show, make sure you share with us your thoughts and comments, people who've inspired you, maybe books and authors you love. And if you're thinking, I'm an industry expert, I could help improve someone's personal life or grow their business, then we would love to have you on the show. Reach out and my team will help you go through the process to get featured on our show. We are reaching at this point almost 50,000 across all of our different platforms. So we would love to have you. And if you are an industry expert, be someone's hero and mine too. Introduce us to other industry experts, be their hero and ours, and we'll get them featured and set up on the show as well. Now, David, it has been such a joy to have you on the show and sharing all your great information, the knowledge that you've come across, the experience you have from your years of work and education. Can you give us, before we say goodbye, a final piece of information or inspiration as we go?
So my inspiration has always come from above, from God. And I know that that's different for every person, and I respect everybody's beliefs in God. Matter of fact, my favorite class that I took in my undergraduate work was a class entitled World Religions, in which we studied all the non-Christian religions of the world. And I actually did a thesis, a paper on Taoism, yin and yang, and it's funny. This was done way back in 1992. I didn't even start my doctorate in chiropractic until 2003, many years later. But that was kind of like a basis for what I would focus on going forward, which is balance. The key to life is balance. Okay. When things get out of balance in your life, things start to go awry, and that could be chemical imbalance, that could be muscular imbalance, that could be imbalances in your relationship where, you feel like you're giving and not getting anything in return in the relationship. That's lack of balance. Everything has to do with balance. And what I've come to the conclusion is that to be happy and to have joy in this life, you need to believe in something higher than yourself. For me, that's God, my creator, who I believe created me. You need to take care of yourself and be proactive when it comes to your health. And number 3, you need to have good relationships with people in your life. And God, Health, and Relationships is actually my website that you can go to and learn more about this technology. So very simple, God, Health, and Relationships.com. If you
is the word "and" actually spelled out? So is it God?
Yeah, it's spelled out. Everything's all spelled out. One word, one phrase. God, Health, and Relationships.
Okay.
If that's not enough information for you, I would really encourage the listeners to book a 30-minute free consultation with me. I'm on Calendly, so Calendly /Dr. David Yates. I would love to just book myself solid of 30-minute free consultations with your listeners to discuss what their goals are. You know, you want to talk about God? We can talk about God. You want to talk about health? We can talk about, you want to talk about relationships? We can talk about that, because those are the keys to happiness and joy in this life: God, health, and relationships.
I love that. And it's just been a joy to have you on the show. I hope you've enjoyed being here as well. This has been another Profound Professionals interview. And I am your host, as always, Jessica Koch. And as I say goodbye today, I am changing it up. So you regulars pay attention. I'm going to say, choose joy, decide on joy, commit to joy, and take actions, joyful actions. Always and always remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.